on wood, baby.
10 songs from the 1960s that make modern R&B look like it forgot what music was supposed to do to you. Not louder, not technically harder, just braver, more naked, more real. These weren't just records, they were conversations about heartbreak, dignity, and survival that somehow got pressed into vinyl. No safety net, no pitch correction. Just people standing in front of microphones with something they had to say. Stay with me on this one. Number 10, Knock on Wood, Eddie Floyd, 1966. The session has produced one of the most covered songs in soul music history. Almost didn't happen. Not because the song wasn't ready, because the man running the label didn't believe in it. It's 1966, Memphis, Tennessee. Eddie Floyd is in a room at the Lorraine Motel late at night. Yeah, that Lorraine Motel with guitarist Steve Cropper. They're writing something, building a groove on pure instinct. Two people in a room with nothing but chemistry and time. Around 2 a.m, they called trumpet player Wayne Jackson away from a gig in West Memphis and asked him to drive over. He shows up. An hour later, the horn lines are mapped out in that motel room before the studio even opens. When the session happens the next day, the band barely needs to rehearse. The song already knows where it wants to go.
Oh, yeah.
Then Stax Records boss Jim Stewart hears the playback and passes. Too similar to other records, he says, doesn't think it's worth pressing. He almost put a gold record in a filing cabinet and forgot about it.
On wood.
Al Bell had to take the record on the road himself. 2 weeks working the East Coast, personally lobbying radio stations in Washington and Baltimore, talking DJs into spinning it one more time.
Can't take no chance.
And if you've ever had to fight for something you believed in while everyone around you shrugged, you know exactly what that slow grinding momentum feels like.
Getting love, I know. It's like thunder.
One station picks it up, then another. Then it starts to move. Here's the part that still gets me. Isaac Hayes, young, barely known yet, just another musician hanging around the Stax building. He wrote the bridge. That saxophone bridge that shifts the song into another gear and pulls you forward.
Better than any love I know.
That was a 20-something Isaac Hayes working something out that hadn't become Isaac Hayes yet. Future, right there in that building.
I don't wanna lose this good thing.
Knock on Wood hit number 1 on the R&B chart in November 1966, and every cover since. David Bowie, Amy Stewart. Eric Clapton has tried to find what Eddie Floyd found in that session.
I'm not superstitious.
None of them quite get there, because what got recorded at Stax that day was specific to that moment, those people, and that room. And some moments don't come back the same way twice.
No secret, that woman.
Number 9, It's a Man's World, James Brown, 1966.
Thing without a woman or a girl.
Most people think James Brown wrote this song. His name is on it. But the woman who actually wrote the lyrics argued in court for decades that he forgot to pay her.
Like Noah made the ark. This is a man's.
1966, James Brown is already rewriting what R&B sounds like. Papa's got a brand new bag. I got you, I feel good. He's in the middle of a run that makes him practically untouchable.
But it wouldn't be nothing. Not one little thing without.
He goes into Talent Master Studio in New York City on February 16th and records a ballad, not a funk record, a ballad with strings, a song that opens like a sermon and builds like one too.
carry the heavy load.
It lists every invention of the modern world, the car, the train, the electric light, and gives credit for all of it to men. And then in the final verse, it admits that without a woman, none of it means anything. But here's what most people don't know.
To take us out of the dark.
His then girlfriend, Betty Jean Newsom, wrote the lyrics. She drew them from her own observations of how men and women actually existed in the world. She wanted to show that men might build everything, but women give it meaning. Later years, Newsom said publicly that Brown didn't write any part of it, and she argued in court that he sometimes forgot to pay her royalties.
You see, man made the car.
And listen, there's an irony here that goes so deep it almost loops back around.
And after man make everything he can.
The most famous song about male dominance and creation, the one that sounds like it came from the most powerful man in the room, it was written by the woman in that room, sitting on one of the most well-kept secrets in R&B history. I'll let you decide what to do with that.
To buy from other men.
They recorded it in 2 takes. 2. The whole string arrangement, lush, weeping, almost orchestral, came together in a New York studio in under an hour.
Man made the electric light.
And Brown's voice on this record doesn't sound like performing. It sounds like confessing. There's a difference. You can hear it. It went to #1 on the R&B chart, inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2010.
You know that man makes money.
And whether you hear it at a family gathering or through headphones late at night, it stops you every time, because that's what real music does. It doesn't compete for your attention. It commands it.
This is a man's world.
Real talk. Only 9% of you are subscribed. That hurts. We're spending hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life. And if you're watching this far, you clearly care. So hit subscribe. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Now, to my subscribers, barely any of you have joined the membership. And honestly, that stings even more. You know the work we put in. You keep coming back. If these videos have ever made you feel something, if this music means something to you, join the membership. It's $1 coffee a month, and it's the only way we keep this going. Let's build this together. All right, back to it. #8, People Get Ready, The Impressions, 1965.
To hear the diesels humming, you don't need no ticket.
Curtis Mayfield wrote this song after watching the March on Washington. He wrote a song about hope at a moment when hope was the most dangerous thing you could carry.
And when you can feel it deep down in your heart, you don't have to worry about it no more. Yeah.
It's 1965. The civil rights movement is not a metaphor. It's people being beaten on bridges. It's funerals. It's a country that has not figured out what it wants to be.
All you need is a faith.
The Impressions, Curtis Mayfield, Jerry Butler, Fred Cash, are one of the most soulful groups in the country. But Mayfield wants to do something different with this record. He wants to write a gospel song, not for a choir, for the radio. A song that sounds like it's about a train, about boarding, about leaving, about moving towards something better, but is really about something much larger, about whether change actually comes, about whether you have the faith to believe it will, even when the evidence is against you. And here's what gets me about how Mayfield did it.
All you need is faith.
He didn't explain the song. He didn't contextualize it. He trusted people to feel it, and they did on every side of every divide.
Who chances grow thin, for there's no hiding place.
Church congregations claimed it. Civil rights marchers claimed it. Radio listeners who'd never been inside a church claimed it. The song spoke in a language that went past denomination and straight to something human. People Get Ready reached #3 on the R&B chart and #14 on the Hot 100. But those numbers don't tell you what the song actually did to people. You know how certain music gets attached to the moments that mattered most? Where you were, what you were hoping for, what you were afraid of. If you were alive in 1965 and paying attention, this song felt like a hand reaching out.
You have it deep down in your heart to where you believe. All you have to do is look toward heaven.
You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. Bob Marley called it one of the most spiritual songs he'd ever heard. Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck took it to the top 10 in 1985.
People get ready. There's a train.
Eva Cassidy's version still breaks people in half. Over 60 years later, People Get Ready keeps finding new people who needed it. That's not a chart hit. That's a different category of thing entirely.
People get ready, ready, ready.
Mayfield believed in something, not in a vague, inspirational way, but in the quiet, unshakable way of someone who has seen enough to know it has to get better. And you can hear it in every note.
Who have spent all mankind.
Play this song next to anything polished and commercial, and you'll feel the difference immediately. One is music made for the market. This is music made for the moment.
Don't have to have a ticket. No.
Number 7, In the Midnight Hour, Wilson Pickett, 1965. Wilson Pickett flew into Memphis in 1965 thinking he was going to make a record. What he made was The Sound of Desire turned into a drum beat, and it starts before you're ready for it. Pickett was a raw, powerful vocalist, the kind of singer who doesn't ease you in, who starts at 10 and somehow finds 11. He teams up with Steve Cropper at Stax, and they write In the Midnight Hour in the room between sessions. Cropper showed him a Memphis dance called the jerk, a specific movement where you pull your arms back on the 2 and the 4, and Pickett built the rhythm of the song around that body movement. The beat isn't just a beat. It's choreography you can't help but feel in your body before your brain registers what's happening. They recorded it in a single afternoon. June 1965, Booker T and the MGs were the band, one of the tightest rhythm sections ever assembled. And what came out of that session played at every house party, every school dance, every Saturday night, anywhere people gathered with something worth celebrating. If you've been to a cookout, the right kind of cookout, you know the moment when this song comes on and the whole energy in the yard shifts. You know the one. It hit number 1 on the R&B chart, number 21 on the Hot 100. But what it did in rooms, what it did to people standing in front of speakers, those charts don't capture. In the Midnight Hour is one of those records where the music and the moment meet so completely that neither is separable from the other. You don't just hear it. You remember where you were when you heard it. Here's what gets lost about Pickett. He wasn't smooth. He wasn't elegant. He was aggressive in the best possible way. A vocalist who treated every syllable like it was the last one he had. And at a time when many black performers were still being advised to soften the edges for crossover appeal, Pickett went harder. He made them come to him. 60 years on, In the Midnight Hour sounds exactly as urgent as it did the day it was cut. That's what music made from real feeling does. Time doesn't dull it. It clarifies it. And when you put Pickett's voice against most of what's on the radio right now, the difference isn't about era. It's about whether you're telling the truth.
Yes, I am. Oh, yes, I am.
Number 6, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin Gaye, 1968. This song was recorded in 1966. Motown sat on it for 2 years because they thought it was too dark, too paranoid, too much. They were wrong. But by the time they admitted it, it had already become the best-selling Motown single in history. Marvin Gaye's version of Grapevine was not the first recorded. Smokey Robinson recorded a version. The Isley Brothers recorded a version. Gladys Knight and the Pips actually released it in 1967 and had a real hit with it. But when Marvin's version finally got approved and released in October 1968, something separated it from everything that came before. There's a slowness to Gaye's version that the others don't have. A weight, a dread. He sings it like a man who already suspects what he's been told is true and is just working up the courage to hear it confirmed. Norman Whitfield built something almost cinematic around Marvin's voice. That opening bass line, the ominous keyboard, the strings that creep in like they're afraid of what they're about to accompany. This doesn't sound like a love song. It sounds like a confession in a room where the walls are quietly closing in. It went to number 1 on the Hot 100 and stayed there for 7 weeks. 7. And if you've ever sat with the specific hollow feeling of suspecting something you didn't want to be true, if you've ever carried that quiet dread before you know for certain, Grapevine is the only song that actually sounds like that from the inside, not a description of the feeling. The feeling itself pressed into a record. Here's the thing about Marvin's performance. There's a moment right around the second chorus where his voice reaches for something and he lets it break just slightly. He doesn't correct it. He doesn't punch it in. He leaves it there. And that broken edge is where the whole song lives because the emotion is real. And real emotion doesn't come out clean. Modern R&B is engineered to be flawless, pitch corrected, layered, refined until nothing can go wrong. And that's exactly what's missing. Grapevine works because Marvin Gaye sounds like a human being under pressure, not a brand, not a production. A man singing something that was costing him something. And that cost, that's what you hear, that's what you feel. Number 5, When a Man Loves a Woman, Percy, Sledge, 1966. This song was recorded out of tune. The horns were flat. Percy Sledge was off. Atlantic Records heard it, tried to fix it, recut it, and then released the original out-of-tune version anyway. Because the feeling in the first take was something the fixed version couldn't find again. It's February 1966, Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Percy Sledge is a hospital orderly who sings in clubs on weekends.
He's the last one to know.
He is not a professional recording artist. He's a man with a voice and a broken heart. His girlfriend just left him for someone else, and he ends up in Narala Sound Studio with 2 musicians, Calvin Lewis and Andrew Wright, who've been working on a chord progression. The song originally had a different title, different everything, but Sledge started singing about what was actually happening inside him. And what came out of his mouth in that studio was the first number 1 hit ever recorded in Muscle Shoals. First one, his first real session. Jerry Wexler at Atlantic heard the acetate. He told them to go back in and fix the pitch. They did. They recut the whole thing. And then Wexler listened to both versions and chose the original, the off-key one. Because whatever had been corrected technically had lost the thing that made it matter. You can't recreate the take where a man is actually bleeding. When a Man Loves a Woman went to number 1 on both the Hot 100 and the R&B chart in 1966, number 1. In a year already full of some of the greatest records ever made. And if you've ever loved someone to the point of your own undoing, if you've ever done something embarrassing or irrational because you simply couldn't stop yourself, this song doesn't describe that feeling. It is that feeling. The music and the emotion are the same thing. Sledge never came close to a hit this size again. He kept performing, kept recording, kept going for nearly 50 more years. And to the end, he said his girlfriend leaving him was one of the best things that ever happened to him. Because if she'd stayed, there would be no song. That's the thing about music made from real life. It sounds different from music made from craft alone. Both are necessary, but only one of them makes you put your hand over your chest. When was the last time a love song made you feel that specific aching vulnerability? Not described, transferred, because that's what this is. Number 4, The Tracks of My Tears, The Miracles, 1965. Rolling Stone named this the greatest Motown song ever recorded. It peaked at number 16 on the Hot 100, which tells you almost everything about how wrong the charts are as a measure of what a song actually does to people. 1965, Detroit. Smokey Robinson is already writing hits for other Motown artists, The Temptations, Mary Wells, Marvin Gaye, while also fronting the Miracles. Guitarist Marv Tarplin brings in a riff he's been working on, a melodic idea that has some connection to calypso music of all things, and Smokey builds the whole lyric from one image he'd been sitting with. What if a person cried so much that you could see the tracks of their tears worn into their face? What if the lines on someone's face were the record of everything they'd swallowed down? That's the concept. 2 minutes and 55 seconds built around a single devastating image. Here's what makes this song almost uncomfortable to listen to closely. The narrator is smiling in public. He's at a party. He's talking to a new girl. He has performed fine for everyone around him. And the whole time, you know, and he knows you know, that he is completely undone. If you've ever been at a gathering with a smile on your face and grief in your chest, if you know what it costs to hold it together in a room full of people, this is your song. And if you're nodding right now, you're not alone. Motown head Berry Gordy said, "Tracks of My Tears was Smokey Robinson's best work." That's a significant claim from a man who was in the room for dozens of all-time records. But Gordy knew what this was. Pete Townshend of The Who was so moved by the specific way Smokey sang the word substitute in the lyric that he wrote an entirely new song built around just that word. That's what one perfectly chosen detail does in the right song. It travels. American soldiers in Vietnam played it overseas. Oliver Stone put it in Platoon. That's not nostalgia. That's a song finding again and again. the exact right context for what it was always saying. That the performance of strength and the reality underneath it are never the same thing. And that everyone is carrying something you can't see. Some of y'all have been there, holding it together for everybody else in the room, letting the smile do the work while something underneath stays quietly, privately broken. This song gets it right in a way almost nothing else has before or since. Number 3, Try a Little Tenderness, Otis Redding's 1966.
A little bit sentimental, no.
Otis Redding didn't want to record this song. His label begged him. His friends wore him down. He finally said yes and did a pleading vocal he was sure they would never release. What he delivered became the definitive record of his career. Try a Little Tenderness is not originally a soul song. It's a 1932 pop standard written by 3 British songwriters for Depression-era audiences. Bing Crosby recorded it. Frank Sinatra recorded it. Aretha Franklin recorded a version in 1962 that was smooth, controlled, tasteful. Then the Stax executives kept getting in Redding's ear. He didn't like the song, didn't think it suited him, but they kept coming. And on November 4th, 1966, into Stax with Booker T and the MGs and tried it. And what he did to a 34-year-old pop standard was not a cover. It was a complete dismantling and rebuilding into something else entirely. The original versions of Try a Little Tenderness is a gentle plea, sweet, almost parental. What Redding does is start tenderly. His voice in the opening verses is achingly soft, and then systematically tear the gentleness away until the final 90 seconds where he is no longer singing a love song. He's testifying, he's preaching. He's building into something that has no precedent in any version that came before it. He reached number 4 on the R&B chart and number 25 on the Hot 100, his best-selling record released before his death. But think about what he did structurally. Sam Cooke had recorded Try a Little Tenderness at the Copa in 1964. Otis heard it. He was a massive Cooke fan, but rather than following Cooke's approach, he took the song somewhere Sam hadn't gone. Somewhere Sam might not have been willing to go. Here's what gets me about the ending. When Redding reaches the climax, when he's past singing and into something more like shouting through feeling, the band is right there with him, not backing him up, in it with him. Al Jackson Jr.'s drums, Booker T's organ, the horns, they all arrive at the same place at the same time. And that place is somewhere beyond technique. That's what happens when musicians stop playing a song and start living inside it. Otis Redding died in December 1967. He was 26 years old. And Try a Little Tenderness remains a master class in what it means to take ownership of something, to not just sing a song, but to become it.
A little bit sentimental, no.
Modern production gives artists 1,000 tools to refine a performance. Redding had 4 minutes and everything he felt, and everything he felt was enough. Number 2, Respect, Aretha Franklin, 1967. Otis Redding wrote this song and recorded it as a man asking for appreciation when he got home from work.
I really don't want too much.
When Aretha Franklin finished with it, Otis looked at the record and said, She took my song. He meant it as the highest possible compliment. April 1967. Aretha Franklin has been signed to Columbia Records for 6 years. Is recording polished material, being steered toward a sound that was smooth and safe and nowhere near her actual voice. Then she signs with Atlantic and producer Jerry Wexler. And on Valentine's Day 1967, she walks into the studio in New York City with a plan already assembled in her head. She wants to do Otis Redding's Respect, but not Otis Redding's Respect. She wants to do something the song has never been before. She flips the gender of every lyric, changes the power dynamic entirely, adds a bridge, adds a call and response section with her sisters Carolyn and Irma that gives the record a communal pulse Otis's version never had. And then, and this is the part that still sounds radical, she spells it out, RESPECT, letter by letter. Like she doesn't trust you to have missed the point. Like she is making sure you understand fully and completely what she is asking for. Respect hit number 1 on the Hot 100 and stayed there for 12 weeks. 12. It won 2 Grammys in 1968. It became an anthem for the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the Black Power movement, movements that hadn't even finished defining themselves yet. Every marginalized group that needed a sound for what they were feeling found it here. Because what Aretha made was not just a hit single, it was a declaration. Otis Redding saw what she did and said she'd taken the song away from him, that no matter what he did with it, the world would hear her voice when they thought of it. He died 8 months after her version was released, and he was right. You probably had to think for a second to remember the song was originally his. That's not a criticism. That's a measure of what she did. Some of y'all heard Respect for the first time very young, in a specific house, in a specific room, coming out of a specific speaker. You know the exact moment. Drop where you first heard it in the comments. Number 1, A Change Is Gonna Come, Sam Cooke, 1964.
Ever since it's been a long.
Sam Cooke played this song for his friend Bobby Womack before it was released. Bobby listened and said, "It sounds like that." Sam said, "That's kind of how it feels to me. That's why I'm never going to perform it live."
Somebody keep telling me don't.
January 30th, 1964. Los Angeles. Sam Cooke goes into an RCA studio and records a song born from 2 things that happened close together.
But he winds up knocking me.
First, he heard Bob Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind and felt, as one of the most successful Black artists in America, something close to shame that a young white folk singer had beaten him to that level of courage. Second, and this is the one that broke something open, he and his wife and their entourage were turned away from a whites-only motel in Louisiana. Refused a room. Sam Cooke, who performed for presidents, who sold out arenas, was standing outside a motel in the dark being told he didn't belong.
And just like the river I've been running.
His wife said, "Sam, we need to go. They're going to kill you," he said. "They're not going to kill me. I'm Sam Cooke," and they arrested him anyway.
Back down all night.
He wrote the song within weeks of that night. The production that surrounds his voice is lush, orchestral, almost classical in its weight. But what Cooke does with that voice is the opposite of polish.
Long time coming, but I know.
He He sounds like a man who has chosen very deliberately to stop performing and start simply telling you where he is. The song appeared on his album Ain't That Good News in early 1964. And then, on December 11th, 1964, Sam Cooke was shot and killed at a motel in Los Angeles. He was 33 years old. 11 days later, on December 22nd, A Change Is Gonna Come was released as the B-side to Shake. The single that introduced this song to the world came out after Sam Cooke was already gone. Think about that for a moment.
I think I'm able to carry on.
The song most associated with his belief that things could get better, that change was coming, was heard by most people for the first time only after he died.
Ever since, it's been a long.
It peaked at number 31 on the Hot 100, number 9 on the R&B chart. By the standards of what his records usually did, it barely registered. And in the decades since, it has become one of the most important songs ever made in America.
Somebody keep telling me don't.
Sometimes history takes its time catching up to the truth. When Barack Obama was elected in 2008, this song played. When people marched for Trayvon Martin, it played. When streets across the country said George Floyd's name, it played. A Change Is Gonna Come has outlasted every chart position Sam Cooke ever earned. It will outlast all of us because it's not a song about its moment. It's a song about what it costs to believe in something when the evidence is against you. That specific, painful, necessary faith. There is no modern equivalent. There has never been a modern equivalent. And that silence, where this song's equal should be, says everything this list needed to say.
And just lie.